With so much love, welcome everyone. We are going to have so much fun today, really getting to discuss how to work with some of the sacred star dates, star placements, how to connect to some of the different star nations, and some of the tools that are available to us in order to really be able to take our connection to the stars at a different level. And so for many of you, some of this is going to resonate if you have had starseed chart readings or any kind of connection to wanting to learn more about your starseed connections. This is going to be very powerful for you as well in order how to bring it into a more tangible way and how to take maybe some names and numbers and astrological alignments that are on a piece of paper and learn how to translate them to the stars. So as we get to do this, I'm going to first just start with a very short opening, a sacred opening of our circle today. So I'm going to invite everybody just to take a nice deep breath in. And as you allow the breath to just bring you into presence within your body, that with so much love, as we call upon the guardian host to be present with us now, that we call to anchor the four sacred corners. We anchor the north, the south, the east, and the west. That as we anchor these sacred directions, we anchor the sacred three directions of the earth, the sun, and our heart. And we bring it all together as one within our heart as we proclaim our declaration of intention to be our highest vibration from our higher mind and higher self within this light. We ask of our higher selves to please direct all information for all individuals within this workshop, that it may be exactly the information that you need, and anything that is not relevant just easily floats away. That all that you receive today or at any time, that you can set the declaration that it enters in through your higher mind, higher self, in alignment to your soul's purpose. With so much love, as we now open this sacred space for all levels of learning, we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. And as we take a deep breath, do know I am going to actually make this PowerPoint available later as a slide, as a PDF of slides, if there is information on here later that you want to look at. But let's go ahead, and I'm going to actually share through screen, because I'm going to share with you through a couple of different ways how to find some of our placements. So today, as we're working with our sacred star dates, what I really like to kind of add into this, that if you've heard any of my talks or conversations or even other workshops, a huge theme for this is about how we can elevate our starfire. That in truth, we are all of the stars. We have connections to them on the deepest levels, and on a molecular level, we are truly made of the stars, so they live and breathe right inside of us. Therefore, the memories, the histories, the things that have happened in other timelines, other star systems, within other, say, extra-dimensional or extraterrestrial, however you want to perceive it, but other star nations and races that have lived within those constellations, we also many times hold the genetic memories within us, just through how we are all one through the stardust within us. So as we begin to learn to embrace this information through our consciousness, a lot of what we're doing is we are elevating our capability to hold more of our star fire within us, which truly is our alignments, our abilities to work with stargates, and our ability to begin to really truly activate light body or rainbow body within this lifetime. Some of the best ways of working with star alignments that we're just going to look at today, I said I was going to do this, that we're going to be working with today, is to first and foremost understand the very first alignment that is actually the easiest to work with is obviously the moon, Luna, our luminary in the sky that reflects the energy of our soul or our sun within the solar system. And so when we learn to begin to watch the moon cycles, we are actually going to realize that we have a very sacred way of beginning to watch these approximately 28-day cycles of how the lunar influence moves through our own very charts and how it's moving through our houses. So just because the moon cycle is happening doesn't mean we're all experiencing it exactly the same way. Your houses in your astrological wheel are probably quite different than mine, and where your planetary placements are in your chart are probably quite different than mine. So as the moon is moving around, what it's doing is it's bringing a beautiful way for us to see deep into our psyche, the deeper subconscious and emotional places where we get to start to embrace our energy and come into a level of maturity with it. So it allows us to see what is maybe influencing us, what we may be complete with, what we may be ready to release, or what we are ready to plant into a new cycle of manifesting into our life. So as we begin to really start to attune, first of all, to our great bright luminary in the sky of the moon, it is one of the first places we can start to learn to connect to our night sky. That as we follow the full moon and new moon cycles, that there is also something else very important that happens with the moon, and these are called the eclipses. When we look at the eclipses, they amplify the energy for us. They completely amplify whatever energy the moon is in during that eclipse. And that eclipse will be most strong right before the eclipse happens and during the eclipse and a little bit after, but it does have an influence in our chart for 3 to 6 months after, depending on how partial or full it is, but also depending on what house and sign it's actually influencing within your chart. So I'm going to show you different ways to find some of these. The next thing that's really important to pay attention to are the really fun and special things that we start to see more on media sites like Instagram or YouTube or all of these places where people will announce many times when we are having the 8/8 Lionsgate portal or the 11/11 portal, 12/12 portal. This is coming from August 8th. So 8/8 being August 8th, 11/11 being November 11th, 12/12 being December 12th, so on and so forth. That numerology is amazing. It has an absolute power and influence within the energy that we are influenced with. So therefore, if you feel inspired to pay attention to numbers, pay attention to different types of portal gates like this, these are also very special times to take into action some of these stargazing or lunar cycle practices. Another one that I love to announce before it's coming so that we can really use it is the galactic alignments. And usually right before the galactic alignments is something called the bifurcation period. This usually starts around the end of October through November. And right as the bifurcation period is ending, the galactic alignments season, I kind of call it the season, really begins to start. The bifurcation period is a purification process where we actually get to see the energy in our life where we have maybe been going on one path. But as we heal and clear many things within our life, we can start to see how the path shifts of the old us, the things that we are letting go, the things that aren't serving us anymore. And as we begin to watch that energy begin to dissipate, we can choose the new future or a new timeline, if you will, based on how we are maybe connecting more with our higher self, maybe more in alignment with our star races, maybe in a freer, more peaceful place by having let go of many of the things that have been maybe our shadows, our limitations, our limiting beliefs, and so on and so forth. So the bifurcation process is really a beautiful purification process that is leading into the time of Scorpio. So you can almost think of Scorpio really as this bifurcation process of the peeling away of that which is not serving anymore in order to align to a potential new higher timeline within your life. This is how to use it personally. And that, as we know through the Scorpio energy, that this is really a beautiful time where it's the thinning of the veils. When the dimensional spectrums begin to kind of blur and we can have greater perception to the elemental worlds, the spirit worlds. And this is also a beautiful time to have connection to our star families. But then as that period ends, as we move out of Scorpio and begin to move into Sagittarian energy, we start to move into something called the Galactic Alignments. They start right at the end of November, or I think around November 27th, and they start right into the beginning of December. And so as these start to move through, we have everything from alignments called the Gate of God into what we would call the Great Attractor alignments. We're going to move into the Galactic Center alignment. And then right after the Galactic Center alignment at about 27 degrees of Sagittarius, we then move into our winter solstice, which is incredibly important and powerful. So the eclipses are very important, and I apologize I didn't write it on here, but the solar time, so the equinoxes and the solstices, are incredibly powerful times also to begin to harness as far as whatever is happening at that period of time. I encourage that those are powerful times to pull up your chart and to see where things are transiting within your chart. And so with that, let's go ahead and look at how are we going to start to find this information to even work with. The very first thing I'm going to invite all of you to download onto your phone or your tablet is an app called Starwalk. It's actually Starwalk 2. It's a free app. There are paid features on it. I'm not sure what those are. I haven't quite upgraded to that yet. I'm actually thinking about it just to kind of see what some of the other things on there are, but the free version is perfect. It is a beautiful app that was created that you can find the perfect alignments to the stars based on the GPS of how your phone or your tablet is facing the night sky. So it's an interactive sky map that as you face it towards the night sky and start to face it towards the different star or stellar bodies in the sky, it will show you exactly what you're looking at. And it'll look actually very much like this picture. This is a snapshot from it. So if you were looking towards the Andromeda constellation, you would actually start to see where a lot of the other constellations are in relation to it. So as much as I'm going to show a lot of other ways to find alignments with stars and talk about some of these star races, my number one thing that I actually want to invite every one of you to connect with is actually the organic sky gazing, organic connection to the stars. Organically go out and face the night sky and feel the energy that is in this canvas of sparkling stars above, and feel which ones are calling and pulling to your heart. Like, there will be ones that you won't be able to stop looking at. There's going to be ones like Capella, Arcturus, the Sirius star. Even looking at the cluster of the Pleiades has a huge heart space vibration to it. And these are massive luminary bodies within our sky that out twinkle a lot of our other closer star systems because they have such emanating power. And also, one of the opportunities for organically looking at the sky, you're also going to see a lot of times, like currently Venus, and just recently within the last few weeks, Venus and Jupiter were having this, or Mars, I believe it was having this beautiful dance going on where you could see them in the sky so brightly together that they were outshining a lot of the other stars. So regardless of alignments, regardless of if it's the time for Gemini and Taurus constellation to be in alignment, because again, the Taurus constellation is going to be more associated with the vibrations of Gemini and Taurus energy, but most of the alignments are actually within Gemini. So as we begin to look at a lot of these alignments that kind of move through there, we're going to realize that you can actually see the Pleiades, Aldebaran, the Hyades, pretty much any time of year. You just have to know where to look. So I'm going to invite you to not just pay attention to what's in absolute alignment at the time, but again, this is about organic connections to the stars and learning how to work with your star families. So as we do this, the first thing I'm going to show is a couple of different resources that I think are very valuable. I personally use AstroSeek. I have used some of the other sites, like I believe it's astro.com. And they are great sites. I just aesthetically, and the way the site works for me, it works very comfortably. It's easy, it's free. You just go on and create an account and you have access to a tremendous amount of tools. So I'm going to actually show you how to work with this. So astro-seek.com. Another site that is very powerful is earthsky.org. And there is a link on there that's called Astronomy Essentials. And I'm going to also show you that website personally so that you can actually see how amazing it is to actually connect with our current night sky and what is happening within it. And then, of course, the Galactic Astrochart.com website. This is from Galactic Astrology. And this is a beautiful site that was flagshipped by Julia Balaz of the Galactic Astrology Academy, and she has put a lot of effort into creating a resource that is very much, it's actually using the alignments from AstroSeek in order to pull up actual starseed alignments for you so you can get to see some of that. And so as we do this, I'm actually going to change screens in order to show these for you. So the very first one I wanted to show you was earthsky.org. This is Astronomy Essentials in here. And if you click on it, you're going to have a website with a lot of amazing little links that are all about what is going on in our sky at this moment. But then what I invite you to click on is they keep updating this, which is the Visible Planets in Night Sky, March 2023. So obviously when April comes, there'll be an updated link for that one. And so if you click on that, this individual puts, or it looks like there's a few individuals that work on this, and they actually create graphs that you can look at of where the eclipse line is within the sky. So you're going to get to start to see this through the Skywalk app. It'll show the ecliptic line within the sky. And what that is the place where our planetary bodies kind of move through there. So Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, these, so on and so forth, kind of follow this line through the sky as we are going in our orbit around the sun. And as you look at that, it'll show within here what other planets are maybe closely going to be aligned to where this line is in the sky that you can get to see. So I wanted to share this for you because it's someone's put a lot of effort into actually creating the ways in order to see where Venus is, where Jupiter is, where these alignments are in our night sky so that you can potentially pre-plan some of these nights or even just have this as a resource for when to look at. And as you get to just see this, it's just a beautiful way to get to see where some of more of our influences are directly connecting with us in the night sky. Now, within this, I do want to show Galactic Astrology. Within here, I wanted to actually take you through how to work with this because a lot of times, just seeing it isn't an explanation enough. There's a little bit of steps that you have to do to work with this. So I wanted to show this to you in such a way, let me make it a little bit bigger here, that if you were to just imagine putting the date in here, it always starts here at January 1st, 1970. We're just going to leave it at this, and we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to do it from my location of Spokane. All you have to do is start typing in wherever your location is. It doesn't matter, and then push calculate. Once you push calculate, it's going to give you all of the planets or all of your signs and its degrees. And so you just come over here and cut and paste this. And then you're just going to take it and paste it over here on the right-hand side and click the button Import Natal Chart Data. Now, as you do this, it hasn't quite done anything. All it's done is auto fill out all of these. And this is actually quite amazing because this is used to have to be done organically. So this is such a neat feature as they keep updating it. Now I'm going to invite you to come down here. There's a way to create and generate a basic report. But if you do a basic report and click that, it'll only show the constellation alignments, but it's not going to give the degrees or how it's connected. So I invite you to actually click this button down here on the right that says show degrees. And then you just slide over to the left and click generate extended report. And now as you click it, you're going to see that on that particular day that we have, that Lyra would have been conjunct the sun. So this particular person would have had a conjunction to Lyra through Mercury, through their sun, a connection to Sirius A, so on and so forth. So it's a beautiful way to get to see the planetary alignments based on your own personal birthday. Again, you would just put your birthday and your birth chart information up here, cut and paste it over here, click enter, and then generate report. Now you can also click show trine, sextile, square, and then click generate report. That is if you just kind of want to see a little bit more. It can get a lot more confusing once you add more of these different types of alignments because it'll start to add the squares, the sextiles, and the trines. And within this, if there is a particular alignment you want to look at and just to see if anything else is influencing it, go right ahead. But for the purpose of really doing starseed chart reports, connecting to your actual star nations and connections, I highly recommend that you first really just work with conjunctions. And a conjunction is going to be when a planet is perfectly aligned with one of those fixed stars or constellations. So that is going to be the recommendation. Now I want to come over here that now if you come to AstroSeek, so as you see, astro-seek.com, you can actually click a button right up here at the very top. See if I can make this bigger for you. And as you click this button at the very top, it just says current planetary positions. And you can also click on there to see exactly what the current moon calendar is. So I wanted to show that is a very important way to see this. I also want to point out this button. It's called Moon Phase Calendar. So as you click on this, it will show you all of the moon alignments that are coming up for this year. And you can click it and begin to see all of this. If you really just want to work with the new moon and the full moon, you can go ahead and just click over here on the left. It'll say a link for full moons. So you can just click that to change it. You can click ahead to any month of the year. It's very user friendly once you get in here and start working with it. And you can also click the button for eclipses. So say we want to just look at full moons. We can now see it, and it easily shows us that here in March, we had the full moon in Virgo on March 7th, new moon Aries on March 21st. Super, super easy to look at. You can just quickly look at that and go like, okay, I know the next one is going to be March 21st, right on the spring equinox. Super perfect. What a powerful day. But now as we get to look at this, it also will show in here a lot of the eclipses. But you can come up here, let's just go back and come up here to this and just click on eclipses. If you ever want to plan where you might want to be in order to observe any of these, this is going to show all of the eclipses for 2023. And we can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're happening in April 20, May 5th, October 14th, October 28th. So when you start to hear people in the astrological world talking about eclipse season and these kinds of things, now you know exactly where to go just to find the date in there so that you can work with it personally. Nothing too much more needed in that, but just know where you can have these resources so that you can use power dates for yourself, for your own internal work that you are doing. Now, when you create your own personal astrological wheel, now you're going to have your birth chart. But I'm going to invite you to go ahead and click up here to transit chart. I want to just show that if you come up here, you're going to see that there is a button for transit chart. you're going to just click on that, and it immediately brings up this almost complicated looking wheel. But all I'm going to invite you to do is to click one more button, and it says display asteroids. Okay. Nope, come on. Now, the invitation is just to kind of, the blue ones in the middle are going to be your birth charts. The easy thing to just kind of look at is go, the orange on the outside is where the planets are transiting. So very quickly, you can just scan around the outer edge and go like, oh, South Node is over here, and just see if it's pushing over one of your planets. For this person, it's over Uranus right now. You can see where the moon is. You can see, okay, the moon, yeah, it is currently in Sagittarius. These are your houses, the ones on the inside, and you can see, oh, it's pushing over Sagittarius, but in this person for the 12th house. So this is just another way that if you want to come in there and you start hearing a bunch of people talking about Mars is so bright in the sky right now, you might want to go on your chart and see where Mars is. Where is it? What house is it in for you? So for this person, it would be in the house of relationships, 7th house. So this is just a very quick way to start to look, how do you find your own personal energy? Where is it influencing you personally, so that you can quickly come in and just grab a snapshot really quick where you can go like, oh my gosh, okay, the solar eclipse, October 14th. I want to see, where is the moon going to be in my astrological wheel? What house is it going to be influencing? Knowing that it's going to be in Libra, you get to know for you, where is Libra in your chart? How do you get to work in it? And so you'd be able to look in there and then be able to work with that energy. I do also want to invite in there that if you are connected to your human design rave chart, that's very important as well to maybe see what gate is being influenced by some of the planets that are influencing us right now. So currently right now, the gate 36 is fully activated in the Pisces energy. So no matter what your actual sun sign is, there is a solar influence coming into your light from the gate 36 that is creating maybe an antsiness within your life that is going to constantly push you to learn more things. So what a perfect energy for today for us to work with. I'm going to add one more thing. This is just something you can come back and reference. This is something that would just be a resource for you as you look at particular planets, to also understand through the human design perspective that the rave wheel or the rave chart, or how we look at the 12 houses or 12 signs, sorry, on the chart, also have an influence based on something what Ra Uru called the quarters of initiation. That each planet moving through our chart, wherever it is, how it falls within these astrological signs, has a different influence with planetary connections. So I want to just add these to you, because what this is going to do is, this might not necessarily be an alignment with these star planets, but it is pulling in the energy of these star nations. So for example, starting around the first week of Aquarius in the gate 13 and moving all the way into Taurus in the gate 24 is called the quarter of initiation. It's about purpose fulfilled through mind. But what this is it's about a new initiation cycle. It is when, say, potentially a soul is coming in to create a brand new energy and has to learn again how to reacclimate with the material world or a material form. And this is very much connected to the realm of Alcyone or the Pleiades. But it's also very important to realize that it's kind of a new cycle of beginning, but it's called the witness returns, which means on a bigger level that every time we can embrace these cycles, we are going through initiations of potential new levels of mastery. And because it's connected to the Pleiades, and specifically Alcyone, which is connected to our higher earth or Tara, fifth dimensional earth body, this is a beautiful way to connect to ancient lineage teachings like the Atlantean, Lemurian, the Children of Mu teachings, the Law of One teachings, as we start to really look at the divine temple and the true blue ray temple and priestess lineage teachings. This is going to very much allow us to attune again into what is our soul's purpose for working with these energies. So if there's transiting energies going through here, or if you have planetary alignments that kind of move through here, this is just another flavor or another layer to add to it. Because realize that Pisces might be connected to the royal star Fulmahat. But you can also realize that it also has kind of another tone to it of bringing new wisdom and information, like a guardian or wisdom keeper of the temple, coming to bring new initiation and how to embed that back into the material world. So there's one example of that. So now as I move through these, the second quarter is purpose fulfilled through form. So it's womb to making room to move. So this is about starting to get more comfortable in the physical reality. This is connected to Ursa Major and the star Dubhe. This is very, very important because what this is in so many ways is this is connected to the ancient queens, the matriarchy lineages. Dubhe is very much connected to ancient royal lineage lines that are connected to Lyra. And that as we get to embody this wisdom, this is going to be the divine feminine, the divine goddess teaching. So if you are drawn to any of the goddesses, any of, say, the mythology of the planet, or tapping into even the histories of, say, Gaia, Sophia, Barbello, Pistis Sophia, any of these kind of teachings, they actually have anchorings in to some of the ancient lineages within Dubhe. This is one of the star nations that many of the regressive Syrian Anunnakis began to try to fight against, rebel against, break away from. So in a lot of ways, when we think of the realm of Dubhe, it is a place that is connected to royal dragon lineage lines, and also very much connected to, in a lot of ways, natural laws of the universe, divine feminine teachings. So any of the teachings that talk about how the universe is actually feminine in energy as we are born from the womb of it. This is going to be connected to this. So it's very a powerful place to even look at womb magic. The triple goddesses, parthenogenesis, and any of these types of things are also going to tie back into the realm of Dubhe. And so it's a very powerful star nation we can connect to. The third quarter is actually the realm of Jupiter, and this one's very special. I'm going to give a couple different things to maybe tie into with this, but Jupiter is a planet within our solar system that actually is just a little bit shy of being a solar body. It is emanating neutrinos from it like a star. So it is influencing us in a much bigger way than many of us might even realize. And that is why when you see Jupiter's placement in your chart, is the kind of metaphor for it is that it makes everything bigger. Well, the reason why is not only its body size and mass, but it's also emitting star neutrinos, much like the sun or many of the other solar logos or stars out in the cosmos. So it is influencing us in a very big way. And that as we get to kind of connect to this, that there is a connection to Jupiter with the Charisti star lineage line. And the Charisti are going to be an angelic race line that we will see has been highly influential in many of our historical timelines, primarily as what we might think of as continuously wanting to uphold divine law and divine natural universal law within the cosmology. And as this, we will get to see that the Charisti are very much connected also to the Sirius star nation and primarily aquatic race lines. And so this is just something to get to kind of meditate on for yourself. But Jupiter has a lot more energy than I think maybe we have given credit to it for, but it has a mystical theme of helping us to now fulfill our purpose through the relationships that we are working with upon the earth. And so think about Christ consciousness, and then anyone that we might think of that embodies this type of energy of Christos or Christ consciousness generally comes to earth as a messenger, as a missionary, as someone sharing wisdom, as someone that is creating relationships with others in order to help elevate consciousness from the heart. So this is something to be able to connect to. And this is again going to be Leo. It's going to be Virgo, Libra, and into Scorpio energy. The last one, as we begin to look at it, it's connected from Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, and into the first part of Aquarius. And this is connected to the realm of Sirius. So the Sirius star nation. This is going to be about the completion of a cycle. So these gate alignments within your chart, just understand in some way that even other star nations kind of connected into this are going to be teaching us how to kind of start to get comfortable with going into the deeper depths, say into our underworld, into the dark, into the shadows, into the places where we learn the larger cycles in life, the comfort of the life, the death, the rebirth, the life, the death, the rebirth within this cycle, so that we don't become fearful within this, but there is an accepting of death in the sense that we see it as a cycle within the physical reality, but we step into an awareness through consciousness and our spirit that we are eternal. We are eternal. So there is no dying. It is just these cycles within the physical creations of the universe that do. Stars birth, stars shine, stars die, stars are born, so on and so forth. And this is connected to the Sirius star nation. So if you have connections to Sirius at all, just understand there's an underlining energy of this, and that it can also help you with how you get to really fulfill this energy within yourself of working with the temples. Make this big. Working with the temples, working with the ways in which you can potentially go into some of the sacred temples in the Sirius realm that are about healing the past, learning the greater purpose of things, and many times letting go of that which we have been clinging to in order for us to come to higher states of consciousness and see the infinite intelligence of the universe and how it works through us. So as we get to look at this, now I actually want to add within here, this is actually our star alignments for today. So we are in Pisces at 22 degrees. And that as we get to look at this, that if we were to pull up that star chart from that Galactic Starseed astrological tool, that you can look now down here and you can begin to see, okay, what is being influenced? And we can see right now that the South Node is currently conjunct the Shapely Attractor. This is very powerful. I do invite you that if you do this, do it with your own personal location, but things that are not going to really matter on this, if you are just pulling up today's stars that are being influenced in today's alignments, you're going to want to not really look at the AC. You're not going to look at MC. You're not going to look at point of fortune or vertex. You're kind of block those out, because those are based on your astrological alignments. They're personal alignments for the minute you were born. So when we're looking at a star chart just for today, you want to just quickly go down and look at the major planetary alignments: Sun, Moon, North Node, South Node, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, absolutely. And then Lilith and Chiron are more constant. So you can look at those on there as well. So we could see that today, if we really wanted to work with some of the energy, we could work with some energy with Capella, with Mars. We could work with Orion. We could work with the energy of Andromeda. Andromeda comes up with Uranus, with Jupiter. It's also coming up again with Chiron. So as you get to look at this, you could go like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of influences with Andromeda right now. How can I begin to work with Andromedan energy? If you are drawn to Andromeda, if you're drawn to Capella or Orion, that you can know right now that that energy would be influencing Mars vibrations within your chart. So you might just instantly go like, you know what? I know that there is a surge of power coming to me from the vibration of the Orion stars and the Capella stars. So maybe let me look at what some of that energy is so I can see if that's something I want to work with and pull in. And if it is, this is where we get to take time, where we go outside at night, where we look at the stars, where we meditate, where we connect to it, where we stargaze into that energy and bring the starlight into our central column. So through our chakras, through our centers, in order to work with it. So I wanted to give you a visible representation here of going like, hey, okay, South Node is conjunct Shapely Attractor. What is this? How do I work with this? Shapely Attractor is an incredibly powerful magnetic energy. It's constantly drawing galactic center energy. It's wanting to come back into the heart of the universe. That's Shapely Attractor. Think of it as like, it's like the universe is calling everyone back home into the heart through the Shapely Attractor. So wherever you have that in your chart or however it's connected to you, it's wanting to bring whatever that vibration is back into the universal heart. And as we look at this, it's connected to the South Node right now. So right now we could go outside and meditate with the night sky and say, okay, right now I know that Shapely Attractor is helping me magnify in my life all of my South Node energy. So all of the past life energy that I am maybe still processing, all of maybe the limiting beliefs and emotions that are from the past that aren't serving me anymore. It might be pulling into my life things that I need to look at and review and see if maybe they aren't serving me any longer so that I can eliminate them and set them free through the center of the heart so that you can then begin to embrace your North Node. And so again, you would even want to see if that's something that powerful is happening. I would look at where South Node currently is on your chart, because that's the house and the energy where that vibration is going to be playing out. So that's an invitation for all of us after this workshop to go maybe look at where is South Node, the transiting South Node currently in your chart, and go like, ooh, this is a powerful place in my life right now that the universe is calling me back home into being more of a heart-based nature. So that is beautiful. Know too that if there are certain races, I found this image online, I just wanted to put it on here just as an expression of that there are many star races, many star nations. And if there are ones that you seem to connect to, that you start to have memories of, begin to work with them, begin to start to meditate on them, begin to ask, what star system are you connected to? And also, just as an invitation, that just because someone's connected to a star, there's also needs to be the awareness that there are dimensional beings in each planetary system. For example, here on Earth, we have Earth humans that live on the surface, right? But we also have advanced race lines that live in the inner Earth, like Agartha and Telos, and many other different races that live. And there's also other races that live here within the Earth sphere, such as the elementals, like the Devas, or the woodland beings, or the fairies, and so on and so forth. So it's really important to understand that whatever star system you're connected to, you might be connected to some of the more physical energy that's happening on there, or maybe you're connected more to some of the extra dimensional beings that are on these planets. So just be very fluid with yourself as you connect to it and what you need to sense or remember. So now let's start to look at how we can start to work with the different planetary alignments that are within our sky. So I'm actually going to take a little bit of time with the next slides to describe a lot of different star alignment placements. And as you see these star alignment placements, just know that they are ones that you can take the Star Walk map out there and potentially go look at where they are in the night sky. So the very first thing I'm going to invite you to get acclimated to and create a beautiful relationship with is going to be the 4 royal stars. These are the keepers of the directions. So when we think about these are also connected to the archangels. These are connected to the sacred directions. They are keepers, they are watchers, they are protectors. And so when you connect to these stars, this is the next vibration you want to potentially pull in. They are the guardians of the heavens. They also mark seasonal changes of the year and equinoxes. So they have been used in many sacred ceremonies. Now, let's just kind of tap into this. If you have alignments to royal stars within your chart, this is going to be very, very important because this is going to show more of a connection that you have to potentially these archangelic energies and these guardians of the heavens. This is going to show not only a level of how you are protected in this lifetime, but also potentially more energy as to what is your soul's purpose and what is your soul's mission. Most people with these connections to these types of beings have at higher dimensional or have higher avatar aspects of self some resonance to these soul families as a soul's mission. So that's just something for you to meditate upon. As we connect to Regulus within the north, Olmahat with Pisces in the south. We have the Archangel Raphael with the Archangel Gabriel. Regulus is very much a Leonite, Leo, connection within the sky to the north, that as you connect to it, many times these are winged or guardian beings. They're very connected also to the beings from Spica and Virgo, as far as their influence that they have played upon the earth and earth history. So when you many times think of the Sphinx in Egypt, Regulus is a place where the Sphinx is representing. So the Sphinx is a harmonious symbol that was shown that the beings that were building it were saying that they were connected to these powerful guardian feline beings from the Regulus star nation. Many of them are winged. They are creators. They are angelics. They are going to be more connected to the Elohai, so predecessors to the Elohim, but they're going to be connected many times to these Elohai family lines as these angelics who are guardians and protectors. They're very much some of the more powerful guardians within the cosmology of the royal stars. They are very, very much in service. And within this, if you have connections to this energy or you feel drawn to connect to it, that this is just a quality that you can begin to call upon, that there are higher etheric beings or the blue Sirian star races that the Regulus star beings were protecting them through many of the challenges that we were having here on Earth during the Atlantean cataclysm and Lemurian cataclysm times. And so within this, I am going to talk when we get into the Sirius star nation that Sirius is a very diverse place. It is a place where we have primarily in the higher etheric realms, we have what we would think of as the Christos mission, the divine beings of the Sirius star nation. We would think of them as the blue ray, even aquatic race lines, and those that have come to be teachers upon this earth, very much Christos mission guardians upon the earth. But there are systems within Sirius that have been highly manipulated, and they are more what you will hear me refer to as the Anunnaki Sirians. And these are the controller races that have heavily influenced the earth. Many of them were creating the patriarchal systems and the systems that have been put into place that have overtaken a lot of the religions and things like this in order to control the consciousness of humanity. So we do have, in a lot of ways, two energies from the Sirius star nation that have been really working with our solar system to help it maintain balance and health. And the Regulus star nation has aligned to the higher Christos mission. And they are one of the guardian races that really helps implement a lot of the work that we are doing to continuously bring the truth forward to the earth. So as you connect to that, have that just within your wheelhouse of knowing. Currently, we're not now, but we were very much in alignment with Fulmahat for, especially within the gate 55 of the human design chart. These beings are also beautiful race lines of beings. I love how the image here almost looks like a big eye in the sky. But as you get to see this, this is the connection to the south. These are masters of working with timelines, time curvature, sharing wisdom. They are very much also wisdom keepers and teachers, but they primarily work more on a scientific level. So if you have connections to Fulmahat, a lot of the work will be driven to find the solutions to redirect timelines. So think about that bifurcation period we were talking about. Redirect timelines so that we can actually keep adjusting, moving away from the mind control, the lower vibrations that infect our mind with shame, blame, guilt, hatred, anger, all of the dead light energy that wants to keep us boxed, feeling in the lower vibrations. And they really work with how can we liberate the subconscious of humanity in order to accelerate positive timelines for future. And so this is a beautiful energy to meditate with them. Aldebaran's going to be connected to Archangel Michael in the east, with Antares, with Archangel Uriel in the west. Antares is also very much connected to the Hathors. So just to have kind of an awareness with that. The Hathors are quite diverse. They actually are a hybridized race created for very high shamanic purposes within the cosmos, if you will, of a hybridized race with some of these Antarian race lines, along with the royal dragon and the royal priestesses lines. And so they are a parthenogenesis, or a birth to female race line of beings that is connected to Antares, but we think of them many times in connection to the Pleiades, to the Taurus constellation. And this is because they travel through space. They have space curvature, time travels, sound technology, all of these things. And they are the ones that are the wisdom keepers and teachers who really taught the Hyades women. They taught the Pleiades women how to work with this energy and to implement it there. So just kind of a tie-in, especially as you can see, these are 180 from each other, the west and the east. So if you feel drawn to Antares, this is a beautiful doorway from this universe to other universes. As we look at this Antarian energy, this is where you go to connect to getting your memories back. This is such a high vibrational place that they won't come looking for you. You need to actually be at a level where you are seeking the answers. And when you do, many times you will start to have Ontarians or mantis-like beings of the highest Christic order beginning to connect with you. And as you connect with that, then you can actually begin to pull that energy in and ask, as you connect to Antares, for your memories to come back, for your downloads to come back, to open yourself to receive this energy. So Antares is a powerful place to actually access universal Akashic libraries. Aldebaran is going to be Archangel Michael energy, and this is going to be very much warrior energy, protector energy, watcher energy. As we get to see this, it's very much connected to a level of integrity, being able to assist in many ways. And Aldebaran is very connected at this time to really observing what is going on Earth right now in our solar system, really monitoring how are we treating the Earth? How are we treating the animals? How are we being in alignment with natural law? And so it's important to understand that when we connect to the archangels and these types of guardians, that we need to make sure that we're not just being self-serving. Help me, fix me, help me deal with this challenge, right? Because in a lot of ways, if we are not in alignment with natural law, that's what they're going to recognize and actually bring to our attention as something that we are going to be invited to come into more alignment with. So it's important to realize that when you work with this energy, it's also about integrity. What are you choosing to align to? And for what purpose are you accessing this information? That we want to step out of all the old cycles of using any of this type of harnessing of this energy for personal or self gain, because we can see how that has created nothing but pain, suffering, war, and trauma upon the earth. And that is how a lot of the sacred energy has been misused for millennia upon the planet. And we're here to learn how to organically reinstate it back again within our heart. So now, as we do this, I'm going to go through some of our more common star systems, and I'm going to go through these a little bit more quickly. So Orion is one of the easiest star nations to connect to in the sky. It's very easy to see these familiar markers in the sky, easily find the belt of Orion. And then if you look straight up to the big orangish red is going to be Betelgeuse. And that as you get to sense that kind of down at the foot will be Rigel. And then if you actually look at the belt and let it point straight out, this is how you find Aldebaran. So it starts to point like an arrow towards Aldebaran and the Taurus constellation and the Pleiades. It's a beautiful way to find the Pleiades in the sky. So as we look at this, I just want to show that Betelgeuse in Orion, it has an incredible role for helping to sustain the flow of life force in all bodies on Earth. So it helps to stimulate the flow of evolution. It is a massive star in the sky. So as you see it, it's huge. It's kind of orangish color. If you feel guided to look at that you can look to that energy and pull the vibrational energy from there, from the higher dimensional spectrums, to help stimulate the flow of evolution. That Bellatrix, I'm going to skip down to Bellatrix in Orion. It really has, this again is very much connected to a lot of divine feminine races, matriarchy, Orion queens. There is history. I'm going to go more in depth with Orion queens. This is something that the guides have been asking me to bring back, and mainly to really show that a lot of the feminine and the divine matriarchal energy throughout the cosmology of the universe also has its dark and its light. So within Bellatrix, there is kind of like the Amazonian woman history that we can think of that sometimes we have used a little more aggression than we should have, right? We can always see how in the challenges of conflict and war, that anything that is overly or overtly expressed can begin to also go into shadow or darkness. And so within there, Bellatrix is very much connected to these military divine feminine warrior beings. And as you see this, it's an energy of leadership that can help actually bring forth positive diplomacy, but that in a negative spin, it can also bring dishonor and ruin. So a lot of stars, there's a yin and a yang to them. There's a vibration that we can use to help us open up to the positive, powerful forces, or at the shadow level, some of them might cause challenges, accidents, and so on and so forth. It's very much connected to the higher heart. So the 8th Stargate, and as you connect to the higher heart, it's something we meditate on a lot in order to help us learn to open up the Gaia timeline back onto Earth again. One thing I wanted to add on here, and this is from a book called The Starborn by Solara, and it's really beautiful. It talks about the L's, the Ra's, and the Ons, and they're connected to the belt of Orion, which is considered the 1111 Stargate. We know it's a portal. We know it's very important. It is actually one of the soul doorways. So through the Milky Way, and many indigenous tribes, they talk about the highway in the sky that the souls travel, that they need to get through the belt of Orion. So this is actually very important. And when you start to harness the energy of the belt of Orion, you can actually see that it is connected to these higher dimensional energies, the L, the Ra, and the On, which are connected to, again, Mintaka, Alnitak, and Alnilam. So this is going to be Moon with Mintaka. Mintaka is one of the higher stations. It is one of the places of very high luminary beings. But I also want to, again, amplify. It depends on which dimensional realm you're connecting into, because on the lower third-ish dimensional realms, Mintaka was a very much overtaken place by the gray races and Orion Empire forces. So when I speak this, we are very much talking about elevate to the 8th heart chakra to connect to the higher dimensional beings within this realm, which is going to be the L's, very much connected to the Atlantean times, also teachers within Lemuria, very much connected to wisdom, ancient knowledge, and mental agility, very much connected to the moon. Alnitak is going to be the raw energy. So RA, raw, we know that term very well. It's very much connected to the sun, to power, to authority, and to the physical reality. So also connected to Atlantean timelines, and also one of the energies that we are healing a lot of the distortions upon it, because a lot of the Anunnaki Syrians, specifically Marduk, hijacked a lot of that energy in order to take over the raw lineage, because that's what they did. You find the sacred mechanics of the universe. If you hijack it, you can reverse it and harness the power, right? Raw, solar, sun, very much a powerful energy. It is our life force, was hijacked by some of these reversal energies. And so what we are doing, connect to these energies, find the organic light, we re-anchor it back into the earth, and we be it here now. So this is what Starfire power is. We're re-anchoring the organic grid back into the earth. Alnilam is connected to sun and moon as one. And this one's a very soft and beautiful energy. And as you see it here, it's even connected up here. It's an interplane of teachers that can telepathically connect to the beings on Earth. And it helps enhance human intuition, and it helps humans to open as channels for spiritual information and guidance. So it's a beautiful star system to connect to. And then as you see it, it's about love, sacred union, emotions. It's also aligned to Antares, and it is about the uniting of all opposites. So just, you can have those as notes. Again, just know this will all be available to read and come back to later. Let's just look at the Pleiades. Specifically, the Pleiades is one of the most influential star systems, because our sun is actually supposed to be one of the 7 sisters, like the 8th sister, if you will. We are very connected to the Alcyone system. So if you look at Alcyone within here, it is one of the primary, most popular places that is usually talked about. And that within there was a planetary body of Tara. And that is what our solar system is connected to. So we were once part of this cycle, as part of this larger cosmic cycle of what is called the cycles of the photon belt. So this is why the indigenous tribes, many of the elders, the star watchers, all of these beings in ancient history and times, they watched the Pleiades, because if there was any shifts and changes that were happening to the Pleiades, it was understood through quantum that we are entangled with them. So we would also be influenced by these changes. And many times those changes came about as the catastrophes, the floods, the different things that we're aware of on the earth. But as you get to kind of understand that this is also going to be very tied, because of the destruction in the Pleiades, which is what we are tied to historically. A lot of the trauma that we are healing is also tied to the asteroid belt within our solar system, where Maldek once was. So I do want to just invite, if you are drawn to look at the asteroids within your chart, most of the asteroids, especially the influential ones, they have a connection to Maldek, because they are the bodies of Maldek, which hold a lot of the traumas from the Pleiades within them. So this is how they kind of flip back, where we are living out a larger drama from our ancestors. And so this is why so many people on Earth have such a connection to the Pleiades. So as we gaze upon the cluster of the Pleiades within the sky, you can start to feel all of the history. There isn't really any nation upon the earth through their ancestors or indigenous tribes that didn't have stories about the seven sisters or the Pleiades. So it's very much connected to the archetypes of the priestess. It's all about helping to serve and awaken this energy. And it's a very powerful energy that needs to be used properly. Because if it's ever used out of alignment, it truly can create more destruction than good. So this is, again, a huge level of energy that we are learning to manifest in a higher consciousness way. We are healing a lot of the self-serving energy in order to become back in alignment with universal laws. Capella, one of my favorite stars to really connect with. If you are facing Orion, it'll be up from there. It's a very powerful star. It serves as a transmitter for the Melchizedek energy, as well as the cosmic logos. So it has very much connection, a little typo there, but a connection to the cosmic logos, the infinite intelligence of the universe. It is connected to the divine Melchizedek energy, Melchizedek lineage lines. So Capella always has a tie back to the belt of Orion. And it is one of the primary places that there have been beings coming to Earth to share high esoteric teachings to the Earth to help us. So this Capella is one of the primary star nations that embedded the Atlantean, the original Atlantean wisdom from the Mu motherland. And one Capella starseed that we can show as a witness for this information was Pythagoras. It was all about reincarnation, the importance of your integrity in your life, and the importance of numbers and the mathematics of the universe, so on and so forth. Very much beings that come to share a mission. Cygnus is one of the most influential star systems within the Earth. This is a place that is very significant. It is very much connected to Christ consciousness. It is about us learning to embody that. It is also connected to the archangelic realm, the winged ones, or the avian races. And that is supposed to say they're the body of Sophia. I was voice typing some of this. So Alphika is one that will show up many times, and actually, before we're done, I'm going to show one more way to find some of these star alignments. Alphika is in Corona Borealis. It sends rays to Earth to help us open up communication and channels for incoming energy from the cosmic initiators known as the Karma Lords. So helping to bring balance and right order back into the universe. It is an energy that is so high vibration that we really have to learn how to acclimate ourselves to this energy. And I'm going to do one side step really quickly. I want to show you guys this right here. That if you go to this area where you are just looking at your chart and you click down here, there's a place and it says fixed stars. Okay. And you're going to just click on that. And if you click on fixed stars, you're going to now scroll down on the right-hand side. It's going to show 30 of the major fixed stars. But if you go all the way down, there's a button there that says all 286 stars. Okay. Now, from your birthday, you can type your birth year in there. It doesn't matter. So it shows you the exact alignments. And it'll show you through each astrological sign, Aries, Taurus, so on. But what I just recommend, if you're wanting to look for one in particular, just Control F, and you can do Alphika. And now you see it pops up right here. You can see it's at 11 degrees 57 minutes in Scorpio on your particular alignment. So I'm just gonna ask, it sounds like somebody's got their sound on. I'm just gonna invite everybody to check their microphone right now just to make sure that it's off. Thank you. And so now as we just come back over here, this is one of the ways I was going to put all the degrees in here, but the truth is I want to also give you the resources how to find all of these things very quickly and easily within your chart. So if you're sky gazing and you see a star that calls to you, Go look it up and you can see what degree it is on your chart, because a lot of them aren't all marked on your astrological wheel. That if you get to look at Andromeda, Andromeda is another major energy within our life. Many people are drawn to Andromeda because it's highly influential. It's one of the star nations that has shared a lot of their DNA, and we are living out a lot of the history from Andromeda. And as we get to look at it, as you are drawn to some of these different placements, Alpheratz is really connected to freedom, liberation, change, and independence. If you feel a connection to Mirak, it embodies the power of love and helps sensitize us to the appreciation for the positive and the beauty in all things. If you find more of a connection to Almac, it helps us to learn to open up to the appreciation for the arts. Andromeda as a whole is about really being diplomatic, seeing things from a higher perspective, and having an absolute desire for more and more and more learning, almost insatiable learning. Baton Katos in Cetus. So the Cetus star nation, some of these aren't ones that you maybe haven't heard too much of, but I want to put them in here. This one's very powerful because if you find this one in the star, and you'll see it, it's the big whale. It'll look like a big whale in the star map. It really helps us create powerful energy to help us change and awaken whatever is dormant inside of us. So it's a beautiful star connection to focus on it, to help us break out of any places where we've been asleep or that we need to awaken to change. Pegasus is a very diverse, has a lot of dark history and positive history within it, is connected to the Pegasus races, the winged races. And as we get to connect to this, it's very much connected to the Archangel Michael family line that was very distorted and hijacked. So it's connected to a lot of the Archangel Michael pain and trauma and destruction that happened within the universe. And that's a whole other story. But just to know that it's also the place that has been healing that energy, opening up this awareness, and how the Pegasus Star Nation assists us is primarily through transmissions of inventions and ideas. So this is one, I always think of them as the ones that were potentially maybe even helping Nikola Tesla get a lot of ideas. Hamal Aries is very powerful because it's about deep passion. It needs to express itself through art. And it shows that if our passion gets pent up, it'll express itself through violence. So it's a beautiful way of learning how to express oneself from a creative outlet. Anything that is a challenge in our life, how can we use it creatively to begin to transmit positive energy through that creation rather than allowing it to get pent up and potentially into violent outbursts? Algol, very much the same. It has a duality to it because it represents and embodies the goddess Lilith. And when we think of Lilith as that pent up voice, we also realize that Algol needs a lot of movement. It's called as like the darkest star, the demon star in a chart. But again, that's what people don't know how to understand how to work with it, because a lot of us, everyone's going to have Algol at some place on your birth chart. And so wherever that is representing the place that you need to be allowed to move energy and take action. Otherwise, it will get repressed and become more of an angry or a violent energy. So it's a place that shows you how to productively use your power. Lyra is all about our genetic lineage and some of our largest histories in the past, but one of the beautiful energies that we can connect to it with is it helps us connect to the Aurora Earth within the Andromedan Mother Galaxy. Is really one of the highest council stations, and it connects us to the feminine force. Regardless of gender, it helps us operate within the part of our human psyche that reconnects us back to source. So Lyra truly is one of those guiding areas within the sky that when you focus on it, especially in the summertime, it's super bright up there to pull upon. It is asking us to come back home to source, back into the 12th, the 10th, the 11th, and 12th dimensional spectrums of being. I did, and I think what someone was asking this, and I was just waiting. We are getting to this slide. So this is Venus. It's also very connected to Alpha Centauri. It's also very connected to the Sanat Kumaras. The Kumaras are the solar dragons or solar logos energies, which are connected to the Christos rainbow dragon lineage lines. And so within this, we know Venus is the most talked about, most revered, most followed cycle within the cosmology of the goddesses, the priestess lineage lines of all indigenous tribes. Venus is at the base foundation. It is creates the Fibonacci sequence or the Phi sequence as it dances with the sun and the earth. And this is a actual pattern on the right hand side here of that dance, and it creates this flower. Creates this geometry within there. Venus is part of the higher stations. It is connected to a lot of the higher priestess lineage lines, even the Kadistu race lines, the architects and the builders. As we think of Venus and the Venusians, this is guardianship. This is teaching values. This is aligning and guiding us. And that the more that we can follow the Venusian cycle, the more and more we start to come into alignment within our heart, our values, and the higher esoteric wisdoms. So the Hathors are also connected to Venus and the Bee races. This is, again, very divine feminine. And this is an entire topic all in itself. And this is going to be a huge part of our journey through the blueprint that we are going to be doing. Because even when we see mythology such as the descent of Inanna, that this is actually a reference to Venus and seeing her cycles and patterns and her descent into the underworld before she comes up again. So a lot of times we get to look at how mythology does represent the divine feminine and actual energies within cosmology, but also planetary bodies and their influence within us. So Venus is one of the most important planets that I invite all of us, if you are guided, to create a relationship with, because her cycles influence us on far deeper levels than I think we even realize. As we get a look at this, Altair has a couple different systems, which is Aquila and Deneb. And within here, you can see, it's actually connected to Deneb in here. But as we look at Altair, Altair is very much an energy for cosmic vibrations. It creates a rod of power. So if there's alignments that you have to Altair, it's a very powerful star placement to see in the night sky. It is actually called the rod of power, that many times planetary or spiritual leaders will use that as an entrance gate into incarnation into Earth in order to show, in order to hold more of this starfire within them to be these spiritual leaders. And then many times they will leave on that same stargate. So it is part of something called the triangle, and it's connected here, as you can see with this. So just tying in Deneb and Cygnus again is also kind of connected again to the wisdom of ancestral peoples, wisdom keepers of the native tribes, really with the patriarchy of the patron of plant medicine and tribal elders. So you can see this leadership kind of triangle coming actually between Vega and Lyra, Altair and Deneb. And even though they both will incarnate into different genders, that primarily the spiritual teachings will still hold the divine feminine cosmology behind them. So just kind of an insight with that. That in the last few slides, I just want to show that this is going to be available. This is from something called Galactic Astrology Academy. It's different than the other website I was referring to earlier. He has incredible resources in there that'll kind of just boggle your mind with the fractals and all of the ways in which he maps things out. But this is how he's showing us overlaid over the 12th dimensional tree of life. That is the correct tree of life. And as we look at it, that each of these is going to be a resource on here for you to look at as far as each chakra and dimension, that if you are called to certain planets, I invite you to even look at this and see maybe what dimension you're working with, what other planetary bodies that you're working with. And as you now take it to the next slide, I'm including this, which is something called stargates, and that you can see that the 12 tree grid has it constantly overlays into larger micro, macro, everything is that. And so you can now see from planetary, so maybe places on the planet you might be drawn or historically intrigued by, to galactic, planets within our solar system, to universal, constellations and other star places within the solar system. So if you are maybe really drawn to the light of Mars out there right now, you might be also called to work with energy of Nibiru, and also maybe some of the traumas that have happened within the Giza Plateau. So that is a way to work with that energy. I'm also including this in here to show that the importance of planetary placements also affects our physiology and our health. So if you ever kind of feel inspired to look at some of that, it's just another overlay within it, that if something is really calling to you and you're meditating on it, you can actually go even one layer deeper and see what area of your body might have been holding those memories, those traumas, or the things that you are returning back to love. So just including it in that way. The last couple things is to share with you, I am including a couple sites in here. There's one called sacredsites.com. I think it's a beautiful website in which you can go and see miraculous places around the world that you might be called or drawn to in order to work with some of the Starfire energy that you are connected to. And also another one, if you want to kind of see some of the power places upon the earth, we have archaeological sites all around our beautiful planet that have been built by our ancestors and star races that signify our solstices, our equinoxes, and our lunar cycles and solar cycles. So there's a lot of places around the world where if you want to travel there physically, or if you want to meditate on these places, to realize that archaeology in the past, based on many of the teachings of the Hathors and these priestess lineages from the Pleiades, was implementing these kinds of architecture upon our planet so that we would remember to work with these sacred cycles. And that is what we are doing again. So there will be the link for this there. That now, how can we work with some of these energies? That during some of these alignments or lunar times, walk a labyrinth, create a sacred medicine wheel, create circles. You can also create just sacred little working circles in your backyard, and you can actually move with the direction that you are guided. Many times they'll actually say to work clockwise to pull, or sorry, counterclockwise to pull the energy in from the stars. If you feel guided to dance, to twirl, to move your body, there is so many ways to work with this. I just wanted to add this. This is going to be something I'll be delving into, but the asteroids are more important, again, than I think many of us realize, and that we actually have 4 sacred asteroids that are part of Maldek, that are where the asteroid belt is, that is connected to Pallas Athena, Juno, Vesta, and Ceres. So these are the 4 divine feminine guardians of the directions that you can add to this energy of the 4 archangelic guardians of the directions. There's actually 4 divine feminine energies to the directions as well. So that is really powerful. So the north is with Ceres, the west with Juno, the south with Pallas Athena, and the east with Vesta. Lapis lazuli, one of the most sacred stones of the beings connected to the Pleiadian star nations and even the Sirius star nation. This is a very sacred stone, so I wanted to add this as one idea. It's not the only idea, but it's one idea. So utilizing crystals, embedding the starfire as you're out in the starlight into your crystals so that as you hold them, you can be with them. You can also take water, charge it in the starlight, allow the stars to embed into the water as you then take that sacred ceremony into your physical vehicle, your body, as a way to work with that energy. Sound, sound tones, and sacred geometry. I wanted to show this visual. I apologize, I don't have the name of the book on me. I'll have to look it up. But if you ever look at the book on Venus Starpoint Astrology by Ariel Gutman, she mentions the book that this is from, and this is a particular individual that took all of the star alignment patterns, the orbital patterns of the different planetary bodies, and these are their geometries. These are the flowers that are birthed right within our solar system through these different orbits. So all of these are playing out in us in some way. And so you can use cymatics, sound tones, toning, frequency, dance, crystals, circles. Just lay out on the earth and absorb the stars. Be as organic as you can as you go back into your roots of connecting to the starfire within you. And that as you do this, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to share this with you. I am going to now step into the Q&A portion. But I do want to say here is that I am offering something called the Journey Through Your Blueprint, where through your astrological wheel, your gene keys, and your human design, we explore all of the different sacred alignments within your chart, just one little step at a time, going really slow. And that through each of these steps, that it's not something about learning astrology or all of these modalities, that it's just that as we go through each step, it's just an invitation for you to look at it just from your chart, just your own starfire. How can you work with some of this energy? So we are starting course 2 on March 20th. I invite any of you that feel inspired by any of this to please join. Even if you haven't done course 1, there's still so much benefit that you can come to be a part of this as we go through a lot of these different topics on here, going deeper into our truth of embracing this energy. So I want to just thank you guys so much for letting me share this with you. You guys hung in there with me. Thank you. I want to just take this time now is to answer any of the questions that any of you might have. And so if you have any, we can go ahead and just look at them. The South Node is conjunct the shapely attractor. Oh my, so it's a double whammy for you right now then, isn't it? Oh my gosh. So that's just going to be such a pull from the heart to really, it's kind of in a lot of ways a double energy like that. I would almost feel like it's pulling you so much that it's like everything can hopefully easier fly right off of you. It's like, yes, I love that. Who are the Kumaras? I looked online but can't find much info about them. That is a beautiful question. I absolutely adore the Kumaras. There are a few different ways in which we can work with the Kumara energy. They are a solar energy. They are connected to the solar rishis family. They have connection to the belt of Orion and the higher councils within Orion. So when we think of the higher councils within the higher dimensional spectrums of Orion, these are actually the seats of light councils, if you will, that oversee the Syrian Christ consciousness councils. And they work in conjunction with the highest councils within Lyra, which is connected very much to beyond what we would think of as this 15-dimensional time matrix. So into the aurora earth, so into the crystalline or beyond Christ consciousness thinking. So these plasma light fields of light. And as we think of these solar beings, their primary goal is to continuously make sure that the light that is needed to uphold and sustain consciousness and evolution is maintained within different places. And so they are actually a family that made seat primarily within the Venusian star, so within Venus. and seated there as a way to hold guardianship and light, higher evolutionary consciousness, and that many of them incarnated in waves at different time cycles into the earth at our darkest times in order to continuously bring light. Now think about light. Light is consciousness. So light is teachings. Us having this conversation right now is creating more light. That's what this is. And so the Kumaras are about embedding these higher dimensional levels of consciousness back into our memory bank so that we can actually align ourselves back to the truth of who we are. They are part of the rainbow solar dragon family line that are the eternal creators of this universe, so very much connected to even the divine Sophia, and they are actually emissaries of the divine feminine. If you really look into the Kumaras, they teach the wisdom teachings of the divine Sophia. So much love to them in all of their expressions and incarnations that they have ever taken upon the earth. And there are quite a few souls I have connected with that have very close relationships to the Kumaras as that alignment. So very much a solar energy that is alive here on the earth.
Thank you for the answer.
No, thank you. Are gates the same as gene keys? Yes. In human design, they are called gates. In the gene keys perspective, they are called gene keys. They're both referring to the exact same thing, which were based on the I Ching. And each of them, I personally, I have such a resonance to both systems. They both have their own gifts. And to me, blending them makes them far more powerful. I think the human design takes so much beautiful information and allows us to see the different channels, the different energies, and the different planetary ways that we're working with energy. And then the gene keys gets to take us into a whole other level of introspection, of seeing the shadow, the gift, and the city within each of them, really seeing the Trinity within everything, that we can be playing things out, and how do we bring things into balance. So yes, they are the same thing. I referred to a book on gene keys in one video. Yes, I don't have it here on me, but it's called Gene Keys by Richard Rudd. And Richard Rudd and Ra Uru Hu had a very close relationship when both of these systems were being created. Richard was on his own path doing stuff, connected with Ra Uru Hu, who was doing his own thing, and they kind of collaborated for a while and then continued with each own systems, which again, I think they harmonized very beautifully. I think it's a great representation of seeing two people that had different things to share to the earth, but not competing, still finding the way to share them together in harmony. I think that's beautiful. What aspects of Pluto will we tap into? Beautiful. Pluto, especially from an evolutionary perspective, shows us one of our soul's greatest sorrows, sadness, or energies that we are here to bring back into balance. So Pluto generally shows us the place that has the deepest aspect of us in the underworld. And that as we see where Pluto is within our chart, what house, what sign it's in, we know that there is a level to it that's generational. Pluto has energy that isn't just ours. We're going to be part of a generation. So this starts to teach us how we're part of a greater whole, and that we do incarnate in waves in order to make differences upon the planet. And that as we incarnate in these waves, how each of us is doing this, even if we come in as a wave, we're still all doing it in our own unique individual way. So it's going to show us how to enter in through what we are going to look at in a lot of ways through the descent of Inanna. So it's still going to be connected in some ways to Venus, but also through the stripping of the ego. If we look at the descent of Inanna, she had to lose a piece of her precious possessions every step of the way until she was completely naked and bare. So we get to kind of go in and strip ourselves down to really face sometimes the things we haven't wanted to see, in order for us to then realize we are eternal, and we surrender to all the lower shadow realms and begin to actually be the highest expression that we can be. So I hope that answers it a little bit, but it'll be very much through a lot of the lens of the evolutionary perspective. So our past life stories, our South Node energy, even within it, as how we've lived past lives. How could you please elaborate on the concept of not using sacred knowledge and creation with high vibration beings for self-serving purposes? Absolutely. Yeah, it can be a bit tricky to balance. So this is honestly, this is first house, seventh house story right here. How do we be in service to others but still honor ourself? How do we, Pisces, Virgo access also? How do we be in service without being the martyr or the slave, right? So this is very much one of those tricky balances within our life of, there has to be a level of honoring oneself. And I'm going to invite every one of you to kind of even embrace this more. If you do have the Gene Keys book, go into the gate 25. Gate 25 in the Gene Keys. This is it is a Pisces Aries gate. So it's right on the cusp, which actually says a lot. It's almost a accumulation of our entire story for humanity. Gate 25. And what it says is that in order for us to truly be in service, that we first of all have to fully embrace what it is that we want to be the catalyst of healing or change for. And that in the base level, the gate 25 is about universal love. And that in order for us to truly be loving, be loved, share love with others, help others feel loved, help others feel a sense of that they matter and they belong, that the only way that we can truly say, be like a Kumara, be one of these Capella beings, be like a missionary sharing this, is that first of all, you have to understand it, know it, and be it. So in order for you to truly be a master and a teacher of love, you actually have to know love inside and out, which means you have to know how to love thyself unconditionally. And as you unconditionally be that, now what it is you become a self-contained Starfire unit. You don't need anything outside of you. We start stepping out of parasitic actions of needing people to prove to us that we're good enough. It's like we had our grandkids over yesterday, and the little boy, the whole time he's coloring, and then he'd like pull my arm and he'd be like, did I do a good job? Was it a good job? Did I color it good? And it's just this cute little expression from a 3-year-old saying this, right? But a lot of us are still living our adult lives like this. Am I good enough? Did I do good enough? Can you love me? Am I lovable? Am I good enough? And then just, no show of hands, because but I'm just putting the point out there. How many of you are comfortable being put on the spotlight of people talking about, man, I really love what you are doing. You're doing such a good job, being complimented, being identified, being the attention put on you. There are so many individuals, specifically many of the empaths and starseeds and light workers, that, be honest, we get uncomfortable when all the spotlight goes on you. It's like, no, don't worry about me. Let me focus on helping you. And in truth, we need to come back to the awareness of that. If we want others to have a sense of feeling loved, we also need to be able to receive it. So part of working with Starfire, of how do we work with something that's high vibration, that's not self-serving, that we're doing it as an acknowledgement that we are deserving, that we are part of the divine, that we are a cosmic representation of light, that we are our soul's eternal purpose, that we are all one. And so therefore that we have the right to be nurtured, nourished, taken care of, that is part of our divine right and inheritance as part of the children of Mother Earth. And so part of it is going to be the sense of having an awareness that you have every right to be supported, loved, deserving, all of these things. You deserve. You are special. You are important. You do matter. And as you sense that, then you also get to go, okay, well, from this energy, I also have the right to manifest a life that's magic. I have the right to be happy. I have the right to not struggle. I have the right to have all of the abundance of what is required. There's a difference between abundance because you need it to feel safe versus abundance, which just is being able to celebrate creation and life and feel supported. So it's how we receive what we receive that really matters. And then there is part of a balance in there, that everything you receive it with so much joy, and that joy wants to spill out as a way to then share it in service. So it's supposed to be kind of like an infinity symbol. And this infinity symbol is the balance between giving and receiving, giving and receiving. And at the crux of it is worthiness. And that as you embrace the energy of gate 25, that if all of us could embrace the energy of gate 25, I feel the world would change just like that. That's one of my things I always say. I'm like, man, if we could all be that for 3 minutes, I know it without a doubt, that every archon, parasite, mind control program, astral being, anything that is pulling from our energy, if we could embrace gate 25 at its highest level, universal love, inside and out, for 1 minute, within seconds, every single reversal energy would completely starve out of the system. Yes, I will definitely, I will place a link where you can access the PowerPoint PDF. I will be so happy to share that in a PDF form. And so when this gets uploaded to YouTube, the place to find this will be YouTube. When I upload it to YouTube, just underneath there will be a link where you can download it off of my website. What is the correct way to ask for clear, specific guidance from these beings? That is a beautiful question. One of the best ways to really be able to work with the higher dimensional beings is truly from a sense of the heart. Like when we connect to them, it's as though we are connecting to beautiful guardian races. And as we connect to them, my invitation to you is ask them, how can I best serve my soul's purpose? And in doing this, anything in the way, I accept and receive the assistance in clearing that out so that I can be my true radiance and allow that light to pour through me. So how you word that will really just be from the heart, and it's not even so much how the words are, but what I find is that it's the intention that you are choosing to create a relationship with them, not expecting, not asking. Honestly, I think the idea of prayer really needs a revamp, because most of the times people only pray when they need something, when they want something. And it's really, these are divine beings that we are creating a new relationship with. And as we create these new relationships, how would you treat a best friend? What kind of respect would you have for elders? And as you do that, as you hold this level of respect, what is your integrity? What are you offering to give back to the earth? And then from that, when they feel that kind of integrity, that's what they're looking for. They're like, oh, we have one. We have one that's willing to channel this energy through and actually not just grab it herself and bring it through. And therefore, that creates an even larger attraction point for bringing that powerful energy through. And so within that, I would say that the correct way is going to be the intention of why you are pulling this energy in. And then I feel for all of us on a heart-based level that our intentions truly are that we aren't just trying to do the shadow work so that we feel better and we can have more on this planet. I truly feel from the heart of each and every one of you here that we are doing this because at the greatest, deepest level, we want to give back. We want to be service to others. We want to embark on our Christos mission, and that we're just wanting to do it in the lightest, freest, most joyful way possible. And that is the magic right there. Step into the bliss, the joy, the dancing, the singing, the celebration energy. And the more you can create that openness within your body, the more the Starfire wants to burn like the Agni, like the sacred Kundalini within you. And as that elevates within you, then be your passion with it. So I hope this has been some useful information for you guys to work with. I've been so honored to get to share this with you. Please, if you feel inspired in any way, visit the website. If you feel as though any of this information resonates, we just are going to keep continuing this journey Mondays at 9 a.m. just to keep allowing us to delve into this of how we can be our highest expression. So have so much fun with the stars, you guys. They've been absolutely incredible and beautiful. So much love. Thank you.